Welcome back to another week of Caps Chat. I'm Cody Lefkoe, the voice of your Capitals, and I'm here with two alum and old school alum, Ryan Lohin and Sam McCormick. You guys are part of the OG, part of the original team that came back to Madison. What was that experience like for you?
For me, it was first year moving away from home. So came out to Madison. Team was kind of just starting out. Kind of didn't really know anybody that was going to be there. Met Sam pretty early on during everything, but everything was great. We had great staff, great coaches. I was fortunate enough to play there for 2 years, and I love the city and loved living there. And the billets were awesome. So everything on my end was a great experience, and happy to be on and happy to do the interview for you.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, I got lucky because I only lived two hours away from Madison, and I was really familiar with Coach Strand, so that was an easy transition for me. And also there were a lot of Wisconsin guys in the team, so that obviously helps. And it was cool, being a part of a little bit of history there and going to Madison and playing in the old rink. And then I was in high school too, so I got the experience of, going to half days and practicing and stuff, which was looking back really nice because, it cut some of my schooling. But other than that, everything was great. The people, my billets, the fans, the travel. I really liked my time in Madison. It was fantastic.
And Sam, you mentioned it. I was going to say you're from the Green Bay area, so obviously the Gamblers are there. For your family, for your friends, especially in the hockey community, was it sort of like you were a traitor coming down here to Madison instead of playing for the Gamblers?
Not quite, just because the draft, you don't really get to choose where you play. But I loved coming to Green Bay and playing just because I would have my friends from high school in town, my family, uncles, aunts. It was a great time, and we played here so much. So it was almost like the transition from where some kids where they're so far away from home they don't get that opportunity. For me, it made it really easy, and I loved coming and playing Green Bay. One of my favorite rinks in the league, and we always had a good rivalry against them, so it was a blast.
Yeah, I feel like Sam scored every time we played in Green Bay. He had all his buddies in the stands had like the fat heads with his face on it.
Yeah, there was a game. My girlfriend at the time made everyone those fat heads with sticks on them. And middle of the game, our trainer tapped my shoulder. He's like, "Why is your face all over this rink?" And I was like, "Nah, man, I don't know, but I was mad about it."
Some guys thrive and some guys crash. Obviously, you like to play a little closer to home.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's take us through sort of how you got to Madison from the start playing midget. And Ryan, we'll start with you mainly because we were just talking about some stuff today in the office, and our new head coach, Tommy Upton, was walking by, and I mentioned your name for this, and he goes, "Man, I remember as an 18U." He goes, "He was probably the best 18U kid in the country at the time." So take us through sort of how you got to that point, and then Madison, and from there on out, obviously.
Yeah, so I played for Team Comcast in the Tier 1 Elite League for U18. Did pretty well that year. So kind of before the draft, some teams have reached out, if I was interested in playing there, that the draft was coming up, just to see what my interest would be. I think maybe he might have reached out as well. I feel like I recognized the name. I'm not sure where he was at the time. Yeah, I was going to say, I think I might have heard his name from Cedar Rapids. But yeah, I would talk to a few teams, and then Madison kind of was in the early works of the coaches and getting everything together, and they were able to sign 5 guys before the draft, like 5 tenders. So for me, it was a pretty easy decision to pick Madison and just know where I was going before and not have to worry about waiting for the draft and waiting to see. So I talked to the coaches there, and kind of we agreed on that, and then so I was me and actually a guy that came to college with me, Guillaume. He also signed a tender in Madison, so we knew we were going to school together, and it was pretty cool to get to play with him for 2 years there before we went to school. And then first day camp was like the end of June. And that's where I got kind of the first taste of Madison, first chance to meet everybody, meet the staff. And then the old radio guy too, he was a Philly guy. So I got a chance to talk to him quite a bit, and we were always traveling back and forth together. But so it was a good experience and good. It was good to know where I was going before. You know, you kind of have to wait and see in a draft situation, but I was happy with the decision to pick Madison early on.
And Sam, for you, sort of take us through your youth hockey, midget, you know, how you got to Madison, and obviously going into college and where you're going next year.
Yeah, so I actually played for the Green Bay Junior Gamblers AAA when I was growing up, and then when I went to high school, I played for Team Wisconsin in the before and after season, and then high school at Notre Dame Academy during the high school season. And actually, when I was on Team Wisconsin, Luke Strand, who coached us in Madison, was the coach, and I won a national championship with him here in Green Bay when the tournament was in Green Bay, and that was a blast. One of the highlights of my hockey career. And then I remember in the Futures draft, actually, I was drafted by Youngstown Phantoms, and then Keith Paulson, who coached in Madison as well, and Strand were in Sioux City. And probably an hour or so after the draft, they called me and said they traded me to Sioux City because they were there. I was like, okay, that's great. And I ended up playing one game my sophomore year with Sioux City. And then when Strand got the job in Madison, I kind of had this feeling or this hope that I'd get traded there again before I even played in the USHL, except for that one game. And I remember he called me one day and he told me that he traded for me, that I was going to be a Capital and I was going to come to Madison. I couldn't have been happier. And it's actually kind of funny. People make fun of me a bit because they kind of say I was a suitcase before I even entered the league, but it was a great opportunity and I couldn't have been happier. I remember I was so fired up when he told me, and that's kind of when I made my decision that, okay, you know, I'm okay with leaving high school and coming to play juniors as a senior because I'm close enough to home where it's not really that big of a deal. Whereas if I would have had to go to, you know, somewhere in Iowa or farther away, it would have been a lot harder of a decision, but everything worked out.
Yeah, and I know I've talked with a couple people over the last couple of weeks about having to make that decision of, do you finish out your high school career? Do you go into the USHL early? And obviously it worked out pretty well for you. Went over to OSU, got to play with some guys that fed through Madison and into Ohio State with you. A lot of Capitals on the team over your 4 years, actually.
Oh yeah, there was Tyler Nanny was there but transferred before I got to school there. But Freddie Gerard played with me in Madison. Miguel Fiddler played with me in Madison. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else.
Camille Sadloka's there now.
Oh, yep.
You guys didn't cross paths here, but there you did.
Yep, that's right. Camille is a good friend of mine from school. So yeah, there's always those connections. The hockey world's small, so you know see that a lot. But yeah, it was great. And then even guys that we played against in the Big Ten, like Will Johnson, he was Ryan and I's line mate for a while in Madison. He played for the Badgers, so I'd see him a lot and play him. Mick Messner, I remember he would practice with us all the time when I was in Madison. He's a Badger, so I'd see him every once in a while. And yeah, it's pretty cool that those connections you can make in the hockey world.
Yeah, Cole Holtz, obviously another guy over at Penn State you play all the time, and I feel like the Holtz brothers, just being from the area, sort of get a lot of the attention. But I mean, you get some all-stars that come through as well, whether they're from you know, up near Green Bay or out east. And Ryan, for you, I mean, you've sort of had a rock star career up to this point. You were able to go on to play college yourself. You were at UMass Lowell. And then after only 3 years, you made the decision. You said, hey, I was drafted by the Lightning. This is, you know, what we decided on, and you're going to the Syracuse Crunch. How pivotal was that decision? How hard was that decision to make to forego your final year?
Yeah, it was very hard to decide that. I actually was able to finish schooling in 3 years. So I graduated. So that kind of added to it as well. But yeah, I mean, anytime you get a chance to kind of pursue your hockey dream, you kind of have to look closer and weigh it out. And obviously this year was kind of a weird end of the season. But I had surgery in January on my knee. So that was, I guess if there was a good time to have it, I guess this year was a fairly decent time. Only missed a couple of, like a month or two of the season rather than probably 6 months of the season. So I guess in that case, it was worked out well, but yeah, it was obviously tough, but I had 3 great years at UMass Lowell, and actually we had a few Caps guys through there as well. We had Garrett Metcalf was there for a while. Guillaume, and then I'm trying to think there might have been a couple others, but yeah, like Sam said, you're always playing against guys we play with in Madison and throughout the Wisconsin area. I remember we would come up there early and we'd go up to Green Bay, Sam's place, or we'd come down to Madison and skate early. So it was just I met a lot of the local guys and the local area coaches and staff, and but yeah, it was a tough decision back to that, but yeah, I was happy to make it, and it was kind of an exciting time.
And this year for you, so the last couple of years, pretty much your whole career actually, you've spent it in the north in some way. Lots of snow in the winter during hockey season, but this year you found yourself in Orlando for a good amount of games and got the sunshine. I mean, how different was that during winter time to just see sun and 70?
Yeah, it was definitely because I was in Syracuse in the beginning of the season. It wasn't yet cold, and then was down in Orlando, and it was like 90 and sunny every day. You wear shorts and flip flops to the rink. It was a nice treat, nice change. The facility was awesome, and like every place had a pool. Like the apartment complex had like 4 or 5 pools. Like it was just, you needed that. It was way too hot down there.
And Sam, for you, you don't get that sun. You're from Green Bay. You played in Madison. You've ridden the north pretty much the whole time, and now next year you signed with a French team. So talk about that a little bit and how you're gonna have to still bear through the snow.
Yeah, I mean, the summers in Wisconsin are the best. Ryan's been so I get my fair share of sun in the summer, but during the hockey season, I don't mind the cold. I think I like the winter time, and in Ohio, the winter wasn't too bad. It never really got too cold, so I didn't really have to grind as much as I did in Madison and some of those 5-degree days. But yeah, next year I signed in France's top league with the Sergi Jokers. It's just about 30 minutes north of Paris. I got an opportunity at the end of the season to talk with a team and really liked what I heard. Talked to a few coaches that I've played for in the past who've had experience over there, and it sounded like a great opportunity. So I kind of went with it. And actually, as Ryan talked about Guillaume, he's from France, obviously. So I've been in contact with him, and he's told me a lot about it because he played in that league after he left Lowell. And he told me a lot of good things, and the opportunity was there. So I kind of grabbed it, and I'm really excited for it. And now with the COVID stuff going on and seasons being delayed and guys really not knowing what's going to happen for next season, I kind of got lucky because I was just talking to my coaches. I'm still going over there in August, and we're starting training camp, and everything's full go over there. So I'm pretty happy about that.
That's good. I know there's a lot of restrictions on travel. So you still have a couple months though. I mean, you guys, it's only July. You probably have about a month or two before you have to go. So hopefully by then it opens up. In terms of Caps history, have you guys really followed since you left? I'm sure the year or two after, you still had some guys on the team, you were paying attention, but really since then, have you sort of followed, what guys here have been able to do?
I was just following kind of on social media to see what are posting. Obviously, the rink transition was a big thing, and everything that they've done there it looks awesome, and kind of more of a homey space. And we practiced there quite a bit, so we knew kind of the history of the rink and the Suter family, and we always had guys in and out from kind of when the Caps used to be around, which was pretty cool. So I think if we're ever in the area during time of training camp or stuff like that, stop by. It was always cool to hear from former guys and former players, and everyone was proud to wear the Caps uniform no matter which era they were in.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan. It's a lot of social media stuff, and if we're ever in town, the season's going on again, we'll be there, make the rounds, see everyone, and even through the years, you keep track of guys that you played with and even played there after you. So it was always just as much as watching them, but watching the guys and the alumni who played there, keeping in contact with them. And, obviously we got to meet Ryan Suter when we were there. So we get to watch him play or keep track of what he's doing. I personally love to see Wisconsin guys be successful. So, I like paying attention to what Ryan's doing and how the team's changing and upgrades that they're making and just stuff like that. Just being a good alumni and paying attention to the team because they did a lot for us. So the least we could do is stay in contact with the players we played with there and pay attention to what the team's doing for the next wave of players.
Well, and you guys have cemented yourself in the Cavs history books, at least for the time being. I mean, I've been keeping through a bunch of the stats and everything, and I mean, in the records books, you guys are in the top 10 for virtually every offensive category. I mean, Sam in a career 39 goals, tied with Alec Brotzman for the most. Ryan, you're sixth in that category with 26. You guys are both up there for power play goals, most goals in the season, assist, point. I mean, across the board, you guys are pretty much up there, except in games played, which bodes really well for you guys if you're putting up more points in less games.
We had a lot of fun in Madison. It was, we got our opportunities and had some success, and that's what makes hockey fun. We had our opportunities, and other guys on the team were scoring. We were winning games. It was a good time, and obviously that's how, that's how you win. That's the best part is,
Yeah, I think for us especially, we were kind of put together early on in our first year, so it was we were able to get comfortable playing together, and it seemed like if one of us was scoring, the other one would have the assist, which was it worked out fairly well. And then going into our second year, we were already not cemented playing together, but it seemed like that was what was going to end up happening. Even if they tried to split us up, it kind of found our way back to playing together, and it was nice just to know that we kind of got a feel for where we're going to be, and I think that the stats kind of showed that through the 2 years.
Absolutely. And looking at sort of your guys' end here in Madison, Sam, you finished on an extremely high note before you guys were traded to Waterloo. You had 2 hat tricks in a matter of it was like 2 or 3 weeks, and then you guys both got being on the same line. Then you both got traded to Waterloo, obviously. Did you guys stay on a line when you were with the Blackhawks and finish out that season that way?
Yeah, Sam. I think it was Sam's hat trick on Waterloo got us traded there. I think what was that game we won? It was like
we played in Waterloo. I remember we won like 5-1 or something, and I think I had that hat trick and you at least had a goal, and I think you might have assisted all my goals too. So then it was funny because we got traded like the next week, so we went in there and kind of had like a bit of a confidence going into that locker room, and it's always nice getting traded with someone so we were comfortable right away with each other, and that made it easier transition into Waterloo. And they basically told us straight away that they traded us as a package to keep us together, so we didn't have to worry about being split up.
I'm sure that would have been a pretty fun locker room to walk into, and you walk up. It looked like Cale Morris was the goalie in that game, and so you walk right up to him, and he didn't have kind words for you.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. He tried to get on our good side pretty quick, I think. To not bring that up.
We consistently gave him a hard time about that. Still do.
As you should. Let's transition over. I had you guys fill out those top 5 questionnaires, sent over each other's answers, and we'll start off with the movie side of things. And Ryan, for you, we've had a lot of guys, more current guys, that have argued that when you put a trilogy or a series in there, it counts as more than one movie. So
yeah,
is there one
I'd say
specific movie?
any Bourne. I think it's the Bourne Ultimatum. I'd go with that. But Sam, we were talking earlier. I think any Philly movie, you got Rocky, Invincible. I forget the one where he breaks into prison. He gets thrown into prison. I'm trying to think of what that.
The Escape or something. The Escape.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes into prison, and then that's in Philly. But yeah, I mean Philly, it's just a rich history town that I don't know.
National Treasure, does that throw it up there?
National Treasure, yeah. I don't know if Green Bay has any.
One of the most storied football stadiums of all time is in one of the best teams in NFL history here. So
I'm from Chicago here, so I'll stay out of that one.
But I'm surprised. I'm not surprised Ryan put a trilogy and then movies because he's a good movie guy. I remember on the bus he was always pretty dialed into his laptop or iPad.
Napping.
Yeah, napping, watching a movie, doing something.
I like it though. Really, for both of you, neither of you put newer movies in a sense. I guess The Green Book is the newest movie that you had on there, and Now You See Me is relatively new. But then on Sam's side, yeah, I mean, Dodgeball and Old School, I mean, they're not new to me, and obviously we're a little bit older, but some of the younger guys see them as new.
Yeah, we always had old school movies on the bus trips. That and like war. We had different wartime movies, so we always got a little bit of a throwback when we were traveling in Madison.
Yeah, and I just personally think the older movies are made better. I just like the older movies.
Everything now is just a copy of those movies, just newer.
Exactly.
I mean, you put The Sandlot up there, Ryan, one of the best movies of all time, and I don't know anything that can match it.
Everybody loves The Sandlot.
That's true. It's hard, and it's hard to beat, an old Will Ferrell or an old Ben Stiller movie. Those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys are hilarious.
So you threw Friday Night Lights up on yours under the movies. Do you like the movies better than the TV shows?
Yeah, I like the TV shows. I almost put that for my binge watching TV shows, but the movies, one of my favorites. I love that movie. I've probably watched it 20, 30 times over the last 10 years, probably the longest it's been out. I love that movie.
So it's funny. I was in Odessa before this with the Jackalopes in the NA, and that's where Friday Night Lights is based out of, Permian Panthers.
Yep.
And I watched the movie once or twice, meant nothing to me. And then one of the people that worked at the rink there started to tell me, she's like, oh, that pump jack in that scene, that's down the road, go see it. And this here, that's down the road in the arena and the field. So it was cool to get a firsthand view of that. But that movie, that story, everything about it was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Start with Ryan again. Somebody else put White Collar a couple of weeks ago. I think one of the most all-time underrated shows. We actually watched Catch Me If You Can last weekend while I was at my brother's place. And I feel the ending to that really feeds into what White Collar is, where, he's a criminal that gets pulled out by the FBI or the FBI, and then goes and becomes an informant for them. But that show was pins and needles, I feel, every episode.
Yeah, White Collar. Yeah, and I feel like it's not really that well known. It wasn't on Netflix for a while, and then it was mostly on TBS or something, I think. And if I could watch it on demand. That's how I got caught up, and then always recorded that. But yeah, it's a good story from the beginning, and it's pretty action packed, which most of the shows and movies I picked were.
Yeah, until you get to The Office. Action packed is different.
Yeah. Well, Scranton, PA. So.
He's got. I know another one here. No Philly shows, I guess, for him.
Yeah, no. Always Sunny in Philly. I could have put that.
Yeah.
Left it off the list.
How many times do you think you've seen The Office start to finish?
I've seen it twice. I started late, and I've still seen it twice. The town that it's in is actually not like that cool, and there's nothing. Like I've heard like people I've talked to are like, yeah, let's go and check out like where The Office is filmed. I'm like, there's nothing up. Like I think the Scranton team in the NA is that they're up there, Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah, they have the Wilkes-Barre Knights. I think they just switched names, but yeah, the Knights.
Yeah, so that's where the town where it's filmed, and there's not a whole lot going on up there.
Well, then you have the Penguins A team as well. They're based out of there, but yeah, I feel outside of that, essentially what was captured in the intro is what it has.
And what it looks like, yeah.
Sam, you didn't put that on your list, though. Are you not an Office guy, or is it just one of those things?
No, it's just so long, and too many people talk about it, and like I can't give in. I've seen a couple episodes, and I think it's pretty funny, and if someone's watching, I'll tune in, but I don't think I'd ever watch it start to finish. It's not
get past the first season. So much better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen a good amount, but I've just never watched it in order, and wouldn't put it on my list of shows.
Yeah, I'm not a Game of Thrones guy. You have that on your list.
I'm not either.
I was on it late and never got. I didn't want to give in. Too many people were behind it.
Yeah, I got in the perfect time. Like I didn't know it was like only 3 seasons deep. It was like on the 3rd season when I first started watching it. So I started when it was a little low key, and then I caught up pretty quick. So I'd watch it right when it would come out every year. So I was super into it. Like my roommates do at school. Every Sunday we would we'd shack up together and we'd watch and we'd dial it in and we'd watch it.
Yeah, hunker down.
I feel like I would have gotten into it too late, and I heard binging it is awful just because there's so much that goes on. You don't want to mix anything together. I couldn't.
Yeah, that's true. Like, and like you need people to talk to. Like, it's such a confusing show. You need to watch it with people. So like I said, I got it in the perfect time. Then I'd watch it at the same time a lot of people were. So we'd be able to bounce the episodes off each other, and not there were especially a couple of guys like I played with Christian Lampasso at Ohio State, and he was really into it. So he'd always explain the hidden stuff and the conspiracies to me. That was nice.
Conspiracies are always the best part of any show or movie, anyways. So better than the show itself. And then the other Ozark is on here. A lot of people have had Ozark recently, obviously with the second season coming out, and then Breaking Bad and Entourage for me. Again, not new, not so old, but old enough that it's not currently on TV or Netflix or anything. And those are two great shows. I think Breaking Bad ended a little better than Entourage did, but through and through, fantastic.
Yeah, Entourage is another one of those shows that I've seen a few times through. Just so that I watched it pretty religiously right when I started doing it, and then now if I can't find anything to watch, I'll just throw on a couple episodes of that at night and just rewatch some stuff.
Could have made my list actually. I watched that a few times through.
I think who doesn't want to be Ari Gold is the issue.
Yeah. Or Vince.
Or Vince, yeah, living that life.
Yeah. Ryan kind of reminds me of drama a bit.
We'll go on towards the video games. Ryan, you put pretty much the strict three, and this is what everybody essentially puts, even on Sam's list. You didn't put Fortnite, but Call of Duty, NHL, without a doubt, especially being hockey players, I feel NHL has to be on there. But I like looking at Sam's list a little bit. We talked about it. You have the old school games, and it's funny because I was talking with my brother today. He wanted Super Monkey Ball 2, which was an old school game for GameCube. And then we started to come across, we should get NHL Street or NFL Street, NBA Street, and just bring back all the old games. And so you put NFL Street on there, and it was just perfect timing for me.
Oh yeah, that's one of those ones because I don't really play video games much anymore. But so like those when I was younger, like NFL Street was the game. Like I think they came out with that football, that orange, black, and white football. I had the football when I was growing up, so it was one of those.
Are you still playing the Tiger Woods PGA? PGA.
No, I think I broke the disc or something. When I moved to school or moved home from school, I lost the disc and I didn't have it downloaded. So that's the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting out of Fortnite. I have like an NHL 3-on-3 team, me and a couple buddies, and that was interesting. I actually a guy I played with this year. He's down in Tampa at the return to play, and like he's strict to the hotel after practice. And last night we're playing, and I see that his name come up when we're playing against some 3-on-3. I text him like, nobody really uses your real name on that. Like he's like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm like, so we were playing against him. It was pretty cool, me and my friends, but it was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'll do, just kind of socialize, and that's what Fortnite was, kind of relaxing game to play. And Call of Duty is a little much. I don't know. I'm not very good, so I don't like to play it very long. But I'll go on if there's some friends on there.
Yeah, I agree with you about the socializing thing. Like, I literally just got an Xbox during quarantine because there's nothing else to do. And now that I've left school, I'll play Call of Duty with my roommates or other guys or NHL. And it's a good way to keep in touch with guys you don't see all the time. Like, I know we played Ryan a few times.
Yeah, Muck's always on there. He logs a lot of time.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually gonna have him on next week, so I'll make sure I'll talk with him and ask him about that.
Yeah, he's just marinating, playing Xbox.
Jeez. For me, essentially, that's what I use it for. I jump on something that is multiplayer where I can. My brother doesn't talk to us, but I can jump on a video game and I'll talk with him there, and that's probably the most that we talk at any time. So it's really funny how those things bring you together. And then on to music, the final one. And Ryan, not a big list for you. You said it. You're not a music guy. You're not on the aux most of the time. You put
Yeah, I'm not on the aux. Seeing Mr. Brightside, I can agree with Sam. He's got that. I liked when I went to the Red Sox game, Sweet Caroline. They play in like the 8th inning. Everyone stands up, sings. It was pretty cool tradition, and got a liking to the song because I mean everyone there seems to love it. So you can't go somewhere and not hear it.
Wait, you went to a Red Sox game. You're from Philly, though.
Yeah, well, I was in school at UMass, so it was like 30 minutes. UMass Lowell was like 30 minutes from Boston, so was down to a few games. But yeah, never really on the aux. Sam will tell you. I don't know who played music. Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie did a lot. Brody, maybe Marcel.
Yeah, you got to have the Gerards on. They might have a competing podcast going.
We had them. I think they were my first pair of alumni on because it was the week or 2 weeks after Charlie signed. And they loved it. It was just in general, just the drama between them was always fun. So
yeah, those guys are good guys.
Yeah, brotherly competition, brotherly love. So
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before we go over to Sam and yours, Ryan, you mentioned the Red Sox game and stuff like that. Are you a big baseball guy? I know just looking through doing a little bit of research on elite prospects, it was your grandfather, I believe, that had a very short stint in professional baseball.
Yeah, he signed out of high school or was drafted out of high school, played a season for the Phillies. So it was pretty big into baseball growing up and watching him playing. And then I think I played up until 9th or 10th grade. And then I had kind of to make the choice to jump over to hockey. But yeah, still fairly big baseball fan. Obviously Red Sox, Phillies, was up to a few games there. Never got to Wrigley. Was trying to kind of find a weekend. We didn't have games when I was out that way, but never seemed to work out. But we got to go to a bunch of games out there, and then obviously the Badgers football was a big event that we went to a few times, it was awesome there. But yeah, we went into Lambeau, but we never went to. It never worked out. We got a game there.
If you can make it down to Wrigley, it's best stadium in the league. I don't care who says what.
So the Chicago guy. It sounds like something a Chicago guy would say.
Exactly. It sounds
by
exactly
far the best. You walk in, especially the first time, you cry a little, tears of joy. It's the greatest stadium. Just the history. Do you have? His name is Sam File. Do you have a File jersey? Do we need to find somebody to get you a File jersey?
I don't have a jersey. We just found like baseball cards, so we have a stack of those now. But yeah, I think a jersey would be cool. But I don't know if they have the throwback. I might have to get in contact with like the Phillies or something to see if they have that throwback style.
I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
All right, back towards the music. Sam, for you, he talked about it. Mr. Brightside is on there by the Killers. I think probably that's got to be one of like the top 20 most played songs at this point. I feel like I hear it everywhere.
I mean, people love that song, whether you're at sporting event. What was that? I don't know what it was, but there's always, every time it comes on at a football games, like the whole crowd singing it. You know, it's just one of those things that everyone knows. When people hear it, it just fires them up. So it's a good energy
They
song.
play at the OSU football games or what's the song there?
There was always, I think there was a college stadium either last year or the year before that went viral for. They started playing it and everyone in the stands was singing it out loud, and it kind of like it took over the whole stadium.
I was gonna say not Wisconsin. That's jump around territory.
Oh yeah, definitely not Wisconsin.
Aside from that, you have 3 other rap songs on there, Lil Uzi and Juice WRLD, and then paying homage to R.I.P. Mac Miller.
Oh yeah, had to throw him in there.
Throw the kid in there every time if you can. And then
Juice WRLD too. Rest in peace to Juice WRLD too. He just passed not too long ago.
Yeah. And then Springsteen by Eric Church. So it's funny because you look through and it's like rap, rock, country.
Yeah, I'm not too picky with my music. I like everything. It's one of my pet peeves when people are like, oh, I won't listen to country or I won't listen to this type of music. Like all music's, you can find a song that you like in every genre, I think. So I like anything, and that's why I had to throw a little country and rap and rock in there.
Yeah, people who rule out entire genres, I don't get. People who rule out a song or two, completely understandable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree totally.
So since you graced the landscape a little more, did you hold the aux at all when you were here or even at OSU?
Not really, because we had obviously in Madison, like we said, Charlie Parker and a few guys that really like doing it. And I don't really like to have my phone in the locker room, so I don't have to worry about it. And then at school too, we had my freshman sophomore year, we had older guys that were doing it, and then we had guys who once they left wanted to do it. So I had no arguments with that. Totally fine with. I'll
Yeah,
throw.
I think it was Charlie Parker too, right?
Yeah, Charlie Parker.
Yeah, we're more of request guys from across the room that
I'll throw a couple of
throw
requests
something
and
on.
maybe a few boos in here every once in a while, but
definitely voice our opinion, but don't make the decision.
yeah.
So Sam, for you, who ran it this past year in college? Who was
Actually,
the guy?
a Caps kid, Eugene Fadeev.
Oh yeah, there's another one that we missed earlier.
But
Yeah,
either Eugene or we had a Swede on our team named Gustav Westland. He played a lot. He played in Lincoln, and then he was on the aux a lot. But usually it was just those two.
what about Ryan for you?
College aux was a little bit more pressure. It seemed like the guys were always getting ripped apart if it wasn't the right time to play a song. They were always.
Is it that way in Orlando too?
Yeah, there was usually the vet will take it over, and in Syracuse too, it was like he was a vet on the team, so everyone was pretty willing to listen and didn't really have much to say when it was a vet put on the music.
All the rookies just stayed quiet and.
Yeah, you really can't put in a request. You have to put in a request to the guy next to you, but you can't really be the guy speaking out too much.
It's a written list 3 days in advance that you have to get approval for.
Exactly, and I remember I requested one song like my first week. I heard it I heard it like from somewhere else, and I knew a few other people liked it, and so I put it on, and they turned it off in like 30 seconds, and were like, who would pick that song? And like I saw people shaking their heads and you'd like the song. I'm like, you guys are like, come on.
Blame the guy next to you.
I was like, yeah, it wasn't me.
Let's go on then. Couple more questions here for you guys. You played together for 2 years on the same line. Who would you say was more competitive?
I don't know. I feel like we shared the same amount of competitive. Like it was just certain situations. If one of us, was really feeling that game, or the other guy was too, or something happened to him, we kind of feed off each other. So that's why we worked so well together, is because it wasn't just one guy; it was both of us, and in different situations, I think, which helped the line.
Yeah, I think if you want to say trash talking, I would say Sam, but competitive, I guess that would fall under a little bit, but we always had each other's backs in that case. But yeah, we were both pretty into it, pretty serious most of the time, and off the ice and after. I mean, sometimes during games too, we knew when was a good time to have fun and joke around, and when kind of was a time to be serious. I think most of our teammates knew that as well.
Yeah, and I think a thing too that worked out so well for us too is that we were so close off the ice that on the ice, if one of us was screwing around or wasn't playing as well as we knew the other guy could, we'd kind of get on each other. And if that guy was like, if Lohin was getting on me and I knew I wasn't playing well, like that would give me outside fuel, to pick my game up and vice versa. So I think that's like pretty important in the line, and we had that locked down pretty well.
Yeah, we also played with Sam's roommate Pyasov too for a while. So we were always hanging out, so it made it easy to. He was kind of the newcomer, so he was a little shy at first, but after a while, he opened up to us.
Mm-hmm.
Who needed, I guess, in a competitive factor, who needed to sort of be brought back in? Who would get hot-headed, get into the face of another guy, and who pulled him back?
Sam, you want to answer that, or? Yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe sometimes, like, if stuff would happen, I'd get pretty angry, and it's like never really fighting, but I guess I could get away from my game. I'd get a little worried about saying stuff to other guys, or Get
Yeah, Sam knew a lot of guys from the Midwest, so he like had a little rivalry with a bunch of guys. So there wasn't as many East Coast guys that I didn't like, but yeah, we weren't fighters. So I think everyone knew kind of we weren't. We were just gonna talk, and that was it. So it was,
Yeah, well, we had guys to take care of. But Lohin got in a few fights. Yanis, one of the bigger guys on Green Bay.
yeah,
That was a good
we
one.
got. I think he's 6'4", over 200 pounds, and he, for some reason, wanted to take care of me for some reason in Green Bay, but I wanted no parts of it and still got roped into it.
How many fights while you were in Madison? What do you think your record was?
Well, practice and games.
Let's just go with games. Practice is friendly.
Yeah, I would say one, Sam? Like 1.5, 2. Like never like a square off and fight. Like
I remember the Yanis one. Was there another one other than that?
It was like a scrum, I think, against like Dubuque, but like one glove it was like a half fight, which was not. Yeah. Practice was 2-0. But yeah, it was like it's usually friendly, but sometimes it got a little heated up where you needed to kind of blow off some steam with each other, and then you were friends afterwards, which was still good.
Yeah, I like. Have you guys ever? I mean, neither of you are big fighters, but ever looked on hockeyfights.com?
Oh yeah.
Logs all of yours. Yeah, the only one they have for you is against Giannis.
Is it doesn't have a record or no?
I don't believe that it has a record, but
there's a video.
Would it say 0-1 or 1-0? That's the question.
Sam, you have a picture for that?
I got a couple of pictures. I don't know if I could find it right now, but I got a play-by-play photo of those fights.
Hey, if you go on there, it says there's a voting for who wins, and right now it's 0-0. So you guys can go in and make the narrative your own.
Yeah, I'll tell the story usually a little differently, but I didn't fare so
well. Who between you two is the better dancer?
Dancer? Oh, I got to give that one to Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't really we didn't dance too often. I think a couple games we won, we would come in the locker room like the guys were dancing, but we left that up to the Europeans on our team. Usually they took over they had like some weird dance they would do after we would win. You didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, you almost didn't even want to watch it, but we
You're forced to.
Yeah.
You guys are heading into OT. Who's most likely to net that winner?
I'd say I'll go with the assist, but I'll give Sam the.
Ryan usually makes a play, and then I get to do the easy part.
Yeah, you did have a few OT wins, right?
What's that?
You had a few OT goals and.
Yeah, we had a couple, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about OT, but Sam second all time with 7 game-winning goals for the Cats. So.
Ryan probably with all the assists.
Most likely, Ryan's probably got about 10 game-winning assists in there. So.
Game-winning assists, yeah.
And then last couple here. So in your time in the USHL, what was the best arena you played in, and what was the toughest arena you played in?
Ooh. I think, not to be biased here, but I think the best rink I played in was in Green Bay at the Resch Center. Like, the lighting was awesome. The fans were great. It was a big arena. It got loud, and the games were competitive. So I think that was my favorite rink to play in and the best one. And my least favorite and the hardest, I'd probably say, is Des Moines, just because when we played them, they had a lot of big guys on the team, so they could cover a lot of ice, and the rink is tiny and old, and the fans are ruthless. So I'd probably say that's the worst or my least favorite.
Yeah, Green Bay had a sweet jumbotron, like HD, was like more clear than the actual, like more clear than when you watch the game live. Omaha was nice. I thought, but like we never played that well there. We didn't play that many times there. Yeah, Green Bay, I think was fun. I liked Des Moines to play there, but I think Lincoln was probably the toughest, and like the small rink with the big guys was. We played them for Waterloo. We played them in the series, and it was a tough series against those guys, and they were pretty good too. So don't have great memories, but we did end up winning. So it's, I guess, not too bad.
Maybe your guys' views are skewed a little bit, but we've had some guys more recently again that have said Waterloo might be the toughest place to play. Especially we've gone there. I don't know if it was just this year or 2 straight years for the New Year's Eve game, and they've said that Waterloo is probably one of the toughest places to play.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I remember when we played against someone else at Madison, I got a penalty, and they were saying some stuff I won't repeat in this interview to me in the box. But then once you play there, it's like you're kings of the city, and they love you, and it's awesome. So you're right with the skewed vision on that for us, but I can see what.
Yeah, we did. We played preseason there too, so we kind of got used to it pretty early, and the big rink was kind of fit our style of play a little better too. So it was definitely better than worse, but yeah, it was definitely hard to play there as an opponent going in.
All right, and then last one here, same sort of question, but now in college. You know, what was the best arena to play in that wasn't your own, and what was the hardest place to play that you just couldn't get going?
I'd say the best place to play for us is at the Yost in Michigan, just because like they would pack that place like to the brim, and then the student section is right above our bench, and they're holding up signs, chirping us. Like they do their homework. Like we'd get this list from them after the game from guys that we know Michigan students, and it would have all of our names on it with like our families' names, you know, where we went to, like just all this stuff. I don't know where they find it, and they would like guys' dogs' names, guys' girlfriends' names. Like they had some pretty funny stuff in there. And hardest place to get going maybe would be, I don't know, maybe Michigan State, just because because the rinks a lot like Cedar Rapids, where it's dark and sometimes the fans weren't great, but in the Big Ten, really places we play, it wasn't too hard just because it was pretty big time games and good fans and good rinks. So I'd probably say Michigan is the best. Michigan State would be the hardest to get going for.
Yeah, I'd say hardest was Maine. Maine has a sweet student section that like is over top of our goalie and on our end twice. And they have kind of a smaller rink like Lincoln. So if you can imagine Lincoln with a second deck right over it like literally comes out over the goalie. And that was our goalie's never played well there, so that's part of it. But it was always a fun game, but it was probably the toughest game. The best place I'd say, it was always cool to play like the Boston schools. They had like a good history, and then obviously like some big names that played there. But I think Notre Dame's rink was really nice. Like I don't know, it felt like pretty easy to play there, and decent crowd, but not too like difficult or yelling at you too much. I mean, they made signs, it seemed like, but they were like kind of funny, and like something like he swims with his shirt on and different stuff like that was like funny jokes like that.
The old Hunter Pence signs from a couple of years ago in baseball.
Yeah, hate to do it, but gotta give Penn State a shout out too. They're playing at Penn State's a blast. Like their fans are unbelievable. Their student section is basically straight up. I think it's the closest you can get to being illegal for height wise, and it's right above the goal. And they make signs. They chirp us when we come on off the ice. I loved playing at Penn State. It was a blast playing. They're a fun team to play against. It's pretty cool. And they would do their white out against us, so the whole rink could be white. Yeah, and they make big signs, and that's a great spot to play as an away team.
What about real quick, just came to my mind, toughest goalie you had to go up against? Because obviously you guys have played some pretty good goalies over your time.
Mm-hmm. Who was the goalie then? Tri-City that we played.
Rasmussen?
No, he signed with Vancouver, I think. Went in the playoffs that we lost. He
I know
was
the
like
tall. I know you're talking about these like
the
tall.
tall, like he went to Clarkson. I forget his name.
Yeah, I don't know his name. Either.
Kelly, maybe something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'd say in college, got to give credit where credit is due. Probably Kale Morris. Like there were games when we'd play against Notre Dame and we should have won, but he shut the door a few times and he played some unreal games for them and he has a pretty storied career there. So I'll give him a little compliment.
And that ruins it. I was about to say for Sam, obviously it wasn't Kale Morris, but obviously I'm wrong.
He got the better end of it after in college.
Yeah, but yeah. I think I put one in on him in college, so I had my I still had some revenge on him. But
we can show him the hat trick game pucks from when we played him.
Yeah, I'll send him a Snapchat of those every once in a while.
Half a season of practice, he figured it out.
Yeah.
And anybody tougher in college or?
Hockey East has quite a bit. Seems like all the teams kind of bring in like a star goalie, but I guess Swayman on Maine, who had just recently signed with the Bruins, he was really good, and I didn't get a chance to play against him this year, but he I guess had an even better season. Was up I guess for the Hobie, so but he was always Richter. He was very good. It was always tough playing them, and it was kind of a fun challenge. Even in the USHL, we played a lot of drafted goalies that later went on to sign either after their season in the USHL or soon after college season. So it was always a good competition, and we'd always kind of make it a point to go out of our way to try and score a little extra on those guys.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for coming on. I know we're trying to get back in touch with some of our alumni a little more. So, for you two, thanks for coming on. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did, and we'll keep in contact. We'll watch you throughout your careers, and hopefully we get to bring you guys back sometime for an alumni game.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's always fun talking about old memories and talking about our time with Madison, and obviously reconnecting with Ryan. So thanks for having us. It was a blast.
Yeah, thanks a bunch. It was fun, and we'll be following along with you guys.
Perfect. All right, have a good one.